If you travel, you know that running out of power is a real problem, especially on your cell phone. We rely on our smartphones nowadays for Uber to get ourselves around, and maps and Google Translate when we need to communicate in other countries. To lose power on your smartphone can be disastrous when you're in the wrong part of town or the wrong part of night. So keeping yourself powered is really important. And as a photographer, at some point we've all run out of batteries in our cameras, right? You can carry a spare, sure, but sometimes your spare is dead. Recently, I've switched to an entire new philosophy where everything is USB powered, and I found ways to make even my old cameras like that D810 over there USB powered. And that has made life so much easier for me. I've also found some particular gadgets that reduce the number of cables and the amount of clutter that I travel with. So I just wanted to go over some of these gadgets. It's going to seem like a bunch of gadgets, but really this means that I travel lighter and easier. That means I can travel a little more frequently. It also means I'm at less risk because I'm not running out of power and running and losing a part of a shoot. First point I want to make: when you buy USB stuff, you should look at the amperage on the USB charger and shoot for 2.1 or 2.4 amps per port. One thing to look out for is, well, a lot of them will be like 1 or 1.1 amp, and that means you're going to charge much slower. But you know, sometimes you only have 10 minutes to charge and you want to be able to top off something quickly. So that fast charging capability makes a big difference. That can vary depending on the device you have. So you might, if you feel like researching it, research it for your particular device. Otherwise, just look for things that are 2.4 amps per port. Some charging devices will tell you the total amperage of the device. So it'll say it's 4.8 amps and it will be 2 ports. Just make sure you do that division, because sometimes it'll be 6 ports and they'll say it's 6 amps and you'll think, oh, 6 amp is plenty. But if you're charging 6 devices at the same time, the charging speed on all of them is going to drop. Strive for that high amount. The first thing I'm going to recommend is this USB charger. Here it is. This one I like because look, it has the cables built into it. And this particular one has a micro USB cable built into it and an iPhone like lightning cable for charging your iPhone or your iPad. That's great. So all the stuff that I have that's micro USB, I can charge it with that, and everything else Apple related, I can charge it with this. And there's no extra cables. One thing I hate is when you have a USB charger that requires a cable and you have to carry some big mess like this, and you know, you're trying to go through your carry-on and find the right cable that you need, and it's just so nice that I don't have to fuss with any extra cables. It can connect an external cable in case you have USB-C or something else. And of course, you'll need a micro USB cable if you actually want to charge it. So you'll still have to have something, but you won't need to pull that cable out when you're on an airplane or in the middle of an airport and you just want a quick charge. There are lots of different types of devices that have the cables included in them. So just use this link here, sdp.io/US battery, and find something that is similar for the type of device that you have. If you don't have an iPhone, you don't need that lightning cable on it. I also want to plug these little wall chargers here that have multiple ports, because at home you might just use that one single charger next to your bed to charge your iPhone. But when you're traveling, and maybe you're traveling with somebody else, you know, you have therefore 2 phones, or if we're traveling with my daughter, then we have 3 phones, and then we have a couple of other devices that we might want to charge too. So rather than having to bring along 4 little USB charger plugs, I have this. Some of them have an external power cable like this one. That's bad. Look, this one plugs directly into the wall. Here's why this is such a great idea, because hotels never have enough power plugs, right? So now you can charge 4 devices only using 1 plug, and it all packs really small in your bag with no extra cables loose or anything. I love these little devices. I actually gave them as gifts to my nerd friends because it makes a big difference in how I travel. If you are traveling internationally, there's a version of this that will work in just about any type of power outlet. So you can see they have some illustrations here for Australia, New Zealand, Europe, UK. You just take this one thing, it will take a 3-pronged plug, so you can plug your laptop in and charge it, but you don't have to worry about what country you're going to or what types of outlets they have. It'll plug in for sure, and it charges 4 USB devices from it. So use this link down here to actually buy it from your local Amazon. It's good to get charged in the car too. Being able to charge wherever you are makes a big difference. So if you're renting a car, It's great even on a short trip. If you can get your phone charged up to 100%, it means the odds of you running down later are a lot less. A lot of cars nowadays have USB ports on them, but I find even in our Tesla, it has like a 1 amp port and it has only 2 of them. So sometimes we have more people in the car and we need more ports, and of course we would prefer the fast charging so we can get to 100%. A variety of different ones in different form factors. This particular one, SDP.io/UScar, is very small and mounts almost completely flush. So it doesn't poke out, it's not ugly, it's great to keep in your car kind of permanently, and you can even close the cap over it if your cigarette lighter outlet has a little cap, you might be able to close it over it. So it's small and 2.4 amps per. That's the one I recommend if you just need to charge in your car on a day-to-day basis. If you have a big crowd that you're traveling with, when we were in California, we had 5 people in the car. We each had phones we wanted to charge, and then we had other things like mics and cameras that we needed to charge. I brought along this 6-port JellyComb USB charger, and this, of course, got big and clumsy, especially with the cable on it. But the fact that I had a cable on it and I could move it to a different part of the car really helped, and there was almost no time when there weren't at least 4 things charging on this, so I'm really glad we had it. It really saved our butts. If you have any type of camera and you want to keep it charged, forget bringing the clunky chargers that the manufacturers give you. Look at the Nikon charger that they give me. This big old cable and this big fat thing. This is ridiculous. It takes up a huge amount of space in my carry-on bag, and then I have to find a power outlet to plug it into in the hotel, and you know how that goes. And if you're traveling internationally, it means I would have to carry one of those international adapters. No more. You can get USB chargers for just about any type of camera battery. So I got this little newer USB charger, and look, it's got a little micro USB port here, so I can use those other chargers that I was just showing you and charge anywhere, even from a battery pack. And then look how small it is. Like, this is what I travel with now when I need to charge an Nikon battery versus this big mess. This is so much smaller in my bag and no loose cables, just that USB cable, and you can see the battery just slots right in there. Oh, so small. This is available for just about any type of battery. Just go to this link, sdp.io/USBcam, and find the one that matches your battery. You can search for USB charger and then the name of your camera model or the particular model of battery that you have, and I promise you can find one. If you have multiple batteries to charge, you can even get USB chargers that do 2 at once. This is for a GH5 because, of course, we tend to burn through more than 1 battery a day on that thing, and this means overnight we can get 2 charged at once, and look how small and light it is in your bag. If you're bringing flashes with you or something else that's AA, you can get USB AA chargers like this model here at sdp.io/USB AA. And again, you can get USB wall chargers too, but the flexibility to charge from your car or from a USB battery like this, wherever you are, helps a lot. You know what? Airplanes nowadays tend to have USB chargers, but they don't tend to have 2 or 3 prong chargers. So again, you can gas up a little while you're sitting in an airplane seat. And finally, buy a bunch more USB cables than you think you need. Because one thing I run into is I used to think to myself, oh, before I leave, I need to grab the cable that I use to charge my iPhone that's next to my bed and put that in my bag, but I would forget. So then I'd get to my destination, I wouldn't have my cable. So I just bought a couple extra cables, and I keep it in my carry-on bag, I keep it in my luggage, and that way it's just always there, and I don't use it on a day-to-day basis. I use it just when I travel. You can buy inexpensive cables nowadays. Check the reviews though, because some cables are poorly made and could even potentially fry your device. So if you really want to be careful about it, buy only the cables that are branded by your manufacturer. But for the most part, I've used a lot of off-brand, well-reviewed cables, and I haven't had any problems with them. Be careful about the length though, because sometimes you need a 6-foot USB cable, but most of the time you can get by with a 1-foot or a 3-foot cable. And when cables do get long, they get tangled, they become a big mess. And so get the shortest cables you possibly can. But look for these bundles that have multiple cables in a bag, and just get a couple extra, because you always need more cables, right? Finally, the last thing that we've done in how we travel is we've pretty much gotten rid of computers. Big laptops also have big power plugs, and of course they require you to find another place to plug them in. I've been able to get done everything either on my smartphone using Adobe Lightroom Mobile and like iMovie for editing videos, or on an iPad. The iPad Pros are pretty amazing. They support pens, and believe it or not, Lightroom Mobile and iMovie, even on these mobile devices, is faster than it is on our top-end PCs. That seems absurd, that seems counterintuitive, but the applications have been optimized better. They've been written more cleanly and more recently. So those apps, those mobile apps, are actually faster than the PC apps. And when we travel, it's actually a pleasure to work on these mobile devices, and I'm really happy to be able to leave behind the laptops and their big old charging bricks, because I love being able to travel light. Thanks so much for watching. Share. If you have more suggestions for other ways to make travel easier, add it in the comments down below. And of course, check out our books that will improve your photography. Stunning Digital Photography teaches you techniques with 14 hours of free video included with it, access to private Facebook groups, quizzes, other things that will make you an awesome photographer. Once you get into post-processing, use Lightroom to organize your photos and get done quick editing, quickly share it, and then use Photoshop for the more intense stuff. We have training for that. These books, the ebooks, are only $9.99, and they include over 14 hours of video. Lots of free sample presets for Lightroom in that make it more than worthwhile. So please check those out, share it with your friends. Subscribe for more. Bye. Thanks.